The sweater they last heard had been sold at a pop-up event at a brewery in Meaford.
Happy New Year. Welcome to 2026 and night one of Closer Look. Welcome back, pal. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. 2026.
Hard to believe.
It is, man. It is. It is.
Derek Turner, as always, in the house. Okay, before we went on holidays, a couple of things that we covered. Alcohol sales. In terms of whether or not the province was going to resell it and have that money or a portion of that proceeds go to charity. We got an update on that.
Yeah, just today. The CBC ran an interview today with the finance minister in Ontario, and it's been a big question because some other provinces and territories, as we talked about on the show right before the holidays, have decided that they're going to take that stock of U.S. booze they pulled off the shelves when the tariffs were first announced and sell it either for charity and give that money to some good causes over Christmas. And some just saying, hey, we bought this already. We're just going to sell it and get that revenue because it's money we've already spent, but we're not going to buy any more.
Right.
And ultimately they're saying that the boycott has done well. It's made a difference, but we shouldn't lose money on the stuff we already had. So the push was on in Ontario for them to do something similar. And the finance minister is saying absolutely not. They're going to keep that booze in the storage lockers until the tariffs are removed 100%.
They're digging their heels in. And
it's funny because the U.S. government has been clear that that's one of the hurdles to them negotiating a new free trade agreement with Canada is that they don't like these provincial restrictions, including the Ontario alcohol ban. So interesting. So there's that one.
Ontario highways.
Yeah, that's the other one that really blew up while we were gone. We've talked a couple times on the show about the safety of northern highways in particular. We talked about the 401 tunnel. That's always an interesting topic. But we've talked about the safety of northern highways. Tragically, we saw some terrible crashes over the Christmas holidays, including one that killed a mother and her two teenage kids, a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old. Yeah, just an awful tragedy. And we had renewed calls from the opposition, for example, in Ontario, calling on improved safety measures for things that would help make Northern Ontario's highways even safer. We did an episode on this back in November, I think it was. And Scott, they took off. Everyone was coming back and rewatching that and learning about the issue. And I haven't really seen one of our videos take off in that way. So it is an important conversation. And you were saying too that you drove on the northern highways.
It's always that Parry Sound Barrie corridor. It's terrible. Down to one lane. It almost looks as though that portion of the highway wasn't plowed properly. It's just, and look, everybody calls 69 a death trap, and you can certainly see why. Just deplorable conditions. And I know a number of commenters across the network have commented that the MTO needs to take back maintenance of provincial highways because it's privatized right now. And
so like the snow removal is privatized.
Absolutely.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So maybe it's something that should be considered.
Yeah. And the interesting issue with the northern highways too, is if you get more north through like into Highway 17, Highway 11, is the economic argument for making those highways much safer, right? Because it's one thing for the terrible tragedies that are people are dying in, but it's you're shutting down these highways for 12, 24 hours at a time because of that they're not in the shape they need to be in, and it's impacting people that are goods that are trying to get to their destination. That's having an economic impact as well. So it's just interesting to see how those shows that we did back in 2025. Kind of have a second and third life as these issues come back. And it was good to go back and see some of those things we've done. I'm hoping that 2026 will be the same kind of year that we'll have the same kind of conversations to go a little deeper into what the headlines are talking about. I think we've kind of hit the ground running and are able to do that. I feel a little rusty getting back here on day one.
Everything feels a little
tight. Derek's doing a good job. I see him back there with the switches.
Well, it's funny when you're off for 2 weeks, and I'm not going to lie, everything I wore, there was an elastic band involved, right?
Putting on a button-down shirt.
Yeah. So I don't know what it is about the air down here, but things are a little tighter.
It's tight for sure. So we're actually going to start off by talking about something a little lighter. There's enough problems going on in the world, especially in the last few days. And I'm sure we're going to have a lot of conversations about those issues in the weeks to come. But today we're going to talk about a sweater, and in particular, a missing sweater that one particular family is desperate to find because it has such sentimental value. And the journey to find this sweater took them to Collingwood and our great team at Collingwood today. Yeah. And we'll let Jessica Owen, one of our reporters there, take it away from there.
Each one of us has that special sentimental item that you can't really put a price tag on. Maybe it's a piece of jewelry that's been passed down from generation to generation, or the trunk used during a great-grandparent's voyage from the home country here to Canada. For one family that we're going to talk about today, that special item is a letterman sweater from decades ago, and they're moving heaven and earth to try and find out what happened to it. Joining us tonight to talk about the mystery is Jessica Owen, a reporter at Collingwood today. Great to see you, Jess. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you guys, too.
All right, Jessica, you've got a bit of a history helping connect people with their lost items. Can you start by giving us the quick version of the stories that you wrote back in 2020 about a box of World War II love letters?
Yeah, absolutely. So this story we're going to talk about today it's not my first time trying to reunite people with their items. So back in 2020, I did a story where a local contractor had found a box of old World War II love letters sent back and forth between a husband and a wife. And he found them in behind the furnace when he was doing work on this house. And we worked, and I did a story with him and about those letters to try to reunite them with their family. And we had no idea where these people ended up, who wrote the letters and what happened to them and if they had kids or what. And so I did a story in 2020 about this. I did it in consultation with our MP, John Broussard, for Barrie Innisfil, because he's a critic for Veterans Affairs. So he helped us go through Veterans Affairs to try to find as much information as we could. And after about a month of Barrie Today readers working together and reading everything they could and finding everything they could, we did manage to find members of that family and reunite them with those letters, which is a really heartwarming story. And I'm kind of hoping for a similar outcome here, but we'll see how it goes.
That is amazing. So were the people still alive who wrote the letters? They were dead.
No, they had long passed, and we found obituaries for the wife. And we learned a lot about their family history. And the two of them didn't have children. So there weren't children, but there was a brother of the husband. It was his family. So it was those descendants and had the same last name and everything. And we managed, with the help of the MP, to reunite them because this was during COVID.
Yes.
So we managed to, he was driving up to Ottawa anyway to go to Parliament Hill, and he dropped them off. The family was in Canada. Wow. And so we managed to, and he took a bunch of pictures, and it was great. We managed to wrap it up for our readers too, and everything they did to help reunite these letters to their family members.
Awesome. That is, what a cool story. Yeah. Okay, let's fast forward now to today. And now you're trying to help another family achieve a happy ending. What's the item in question this time?
Yeah, so it's a letterman sweater. So on, I think it was December 21st, so right before Christmas, an email just popped up in my inbox from William. And William and his family, following William's grandfather's death in June, had been trying to find this letterman sweater, and they had worked so hard. They had family members that worked in cybersecurity, and they were able to kind of track it as it had sold through the process, and followed up with prospective buyers. And they had kind of hit a stall in Meaford, which is within our coverage area in Collingwood, where the sweater they last heard had been sold at a pop-up event at a brewery in Meaford, but it was sold cash, so they have no record of who the seller is. And we're kind of hoping that maybe someone who was maybe attending a vintage pop-up event at a brewery in Meaford might remember the sweater. Wow. or know someone who's worn it.
The smart folks, they know that Collingwood today is a huge news source, has a big reach in the community, so they're smart enough to reach out to you guys and say, hey, can you write about this? Just to make everybody clear, this is a family from the United States, from Oregon, right? This gentleman was?
Yes, yeah. Yes.
And so when does the sweater date back to? Do you know when it's from? Like the 50s, the 60s?
I think it was from the 1950s. There's a 55 on the sweater, which makes me think that's either when he lettered or when he graduated from high school. So it is his high school letterman sweater. but yeah, like we don't have an exact date, but I'm excited to see if we can put it together. I was really surprised in doing the story, like when we have the photo of the Collingwood vintage seller wearing the sweater, it's in amazing condition.
Yeah,
or it looks like it's in amazing condition considering how old it is.
So Jess, how did the family lose the sweater in the first place?
So they're a little unsure. They weren't aware it was missing until the patriarch or the family passed away and they were going through his things. So they didn't, and they had actually been looking for that sweater because the mother had memories of her dad wearing that sweater. And that was the one thing that she really wanted to be returned to her after his death. And so they were just devastated that it wasn't in with his things. And the family suspects that at some point there was a break-in at the family home and it might have been taken in that break-in, but they don't know for sure.
That's an unbelievable story. So then the team of the family members tracked it because some of them are cybersecurity, which is a nice thing to have, I guess, if you're trying to track them down.
Always
and they
good
were able
to have a guy.
Yeah, they were able to find the different type. It was on sale online at one point, right? They found it?
It went on sale online. It was bought and sold through a seller in Florida. And he or she, that seller, is the one that sold it to the Collingwood vintage buyer. And the Collingwood vintage buyer, Your Little Brothers is the store in Collingwood. So it's only been a storefront for the last year and a bit. But prior to that, he had just done like online pop-ups and sometimes in-person pop-ups at breweries, but he didn't have the bricks and mortar until last year. But he's been in the space for a long time and had been he sells all kinds of things. He has some really amazing stuff at his store. Not to like prop up his store, but
That's okay.
I've been in there and they have some really incredible pieces there.
We'll give it a shout out. So when was the pop-up event when it was sold? Do we know?
It was in 2021, and it was a Christmas pop-up market event at that brewery. I think it's still, I need to look now. Still something brewery. It's no longer open. It closed in 2023.
Okay.
But this was a Christmas pop-up market event that the brewery held where the sweater was sold.
So, Jess, you said the trail has gone a little bit cold. When was the last time that there was any kind of a viable lead?
So this is the last one. So the ones in Meaford in 2021, that's where the trail kind of runs cold. So I'm really hopeful that, even if someone reads the story and they haven't heard of it or seen it themselves, maybe they'll share it because you never know which one of your friends or family members might be, a big into vintage clothing and into the vintage scene.
So the seller who sold it at the pop-up, when you contacted them, did they remember this sweater? Do they remember this?
Well, he remembered it because he's the one modeling it in the picture.
Okay, so down in the bottom there?
That's the seller. Yeah.
Standing in the rock garden there?
Yeah. And you're right, it is in great condition.
He looks like Rob Lowe.
That's him. That's Max. Yeah.
Max Lowe.
So he wore it to model it for when he was trying to sell it.
Wow.
Back then he explained that he would put collections up on his online site for 3 months. And then if they didn't sell, he would put them in a trunk to go to a pop-up.
Oh, okay.
And so this sweater was put up on his site for 3 months. It didn't sell. So then it went in the trunk to go to the Christmas market pop-up.
So what we know for sure is someone walked into that pop-up in 2021 and bought this sweater. Do we know how much they paid for it?
We don't know, and he doesn't remember.
He doesn't remember, eh? This is fascinating. I'm right. I love mysteries. This is fascinating.
Yeah.
And sorry, go ahead.
Letterman sweaters, that's a U.S. high school thing, right? Never in Canada was a Letterman sweater a thing, right?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think so
I'm
either.
sure.
Jess, you need to be more prepared. Jess, if you're going to come on the podcast, you need to be very prepared when you come on the podcast.
Do you know the entire history of the Letterman sweater?
That's right.
Well, like when I was in high school, they used to have jackets and sweaters and things like that. Like that was a thing, but I don't know if they're officially called Letterman, and I don't know if my high school was an example for all high schools in Canada. I'm not certain.
Yeah, no, I think it was it's a U.S. thing. Yeah.
This seller, Max is his name? The
Max Hill.
Max,
okay, so was he pretty surprised when you called him and said, "Hey, Max, I'm working on this story about this sweater"? He must have been shocked.
So he wasn't surprised because he had been talking to the family for a couple months.
Okay.
So, and they had been sharing Instagram messages back and forth, trying to figure this out. Maybe he was surprised when I called. This is, it's Jessica from Collingwood today.
That's right. That's amazing.
But he's great. And I actually went and met him at the store because it's like right in Collingwood's downtown, right. right there. And so I met him and we chatted, and he's really eager to help them because like he's a vintage lover, just like everyone, like anyone who's really into that. Like he would love to see this reunited.
Well, if you're in that business, you love the stories behind the items. That's why you're in that business, right? Yeah. What's fascinating about the stories, it ran, like you said, over the Christmas season on your site in Collingwood. And then we have, obviously, as our listeners know, we have a large network of news sites that run across the province. And a lot of our other news editors picked up that story and ran it because it's just a fascinating story about this sweater, this mystery sweater that disappeared in Ontario. So I don't want to put a number on it, but I can tell you thousands of people across the province, if not tens of thousands, would have read this story by now. Any tips at all? Are you getting any emails from anybody? And even a little suggestion?
As of today, so it's January 5th, right?
Yes.
Someone made a suggestion to share the story on social media, like in the local community groups. And I sent that suggestion to William, and he said that he did it over the break. But as of today, I don't have any leads.
So if anybody watching this show tonight, Jess, or listening, and all of a sudden, a light bulb goes off and they have some information, what should they do with it?
Email me.
All right.
So they can email me direct. It's my email is jessica@villagemedia.ca. And I'll connect any viable leads I'm sending directly to the family. And then because I'd love to also, if we manage to connect them, I'd love to do a follow-up story and let the community know that everything that they did came together.
Absolutely.
And Max as well. So Max, with Your Little Brothers, he also shared the story on his social media pages, trying to get in contact with like vintage people that love vintage clothing to see if any of them, to connect with that community a little bit. Yes. And he's also going to contact me if anything comes from that route. So we'll see what happens. I'm so hopeful. I think it'd be a great way to start the new year, to be able to reunite this family with the sweater. So
it would be amazing. See. And obviously there's no reward, but obviously the family's willing to buy this thing back, right?
Yeah, they're willing to pay. They're willing to pay for the sweater. So if someone has it, like they're not looking for someone to just give it for free, although, I mean, that would be a nice gesture. They are willing to pay.
Yes. We should put up a reward. Closer Look should put up some kind of reward.
We should.
We'll come up with a dollar figure. And
it won't be much.
It might be a free subscription to our free email newsletter. But yeah, you know what? I mean, anything that spreads this, that boosts the signal is an interesting thing. And I love these kind of stories, There's enough terrible things going on in the world. We were just talking about that before we sat down. I mean, it makes you not want to even come into work and get up in the morning and think about the things that are going on in the world. This is one of those stories that kind of renews your faith in humanity, that maybe some people will come together and work together to find this sweater. It's also a cross-border story. It's Americans working with Canadians like we always have for many, many decades.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so maybe this would be a great example going forward of how we continue to work together.
Jess, anything on the missing sweater that we didn't touch on tonight that perhaps we should have?
I think that covers it. Just looking forward to maybe bringing better news on the sweater in the new year at some point. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, all right. Wouldn't that be great? All right. There's Jessica Owen from Collingwood today. Thanks as always, Jess. Good to see you.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Always great to have Jess on the show. And clearly this is her niche.
Yeah.
So I'm pulling for her. I'm rooting for a happy ending here.
You know what? This job's a grind sometimes, Scott, and we deal with a lot of negative things. And sometimes when you get, I get as excited about super positive stories like this as I do about the doom and gloom that we cover a lot. I mean, that's important. Wow. It's important that we shine a light on those things too. But these kind of stories where you might actually connect someone with a lost item is amazing. And when I went back and read her stories on the love letters, it was a beautiful story. They find these letters. Yeah. Guys doing work on an old house finds the letters. Had I been working here at the time, I would have told them to go back and pull the property records of the house and find out who lived there, and it would have been a lot easier to find out who it was.
Well, could have saved some time.
It was before my time. But I encourage everyone to check their closets. Ask their friends who are vintage collectors. Right. Maybe they were in Meaford and picked up this jacket. Looking at the photo too, I'm sure Derek will flash it, but I thought that was like a professional modeling photo. This guy the
Rob Lowe thing. You're not wrong.
I thought it was Rob Lowe.
Yeah, and it is in mint condition.
Yeah.
If it is in fact 1955, and why wouldn't it be?
Why wouldn't it be? Yeah. I said it to we were just talking to Jess, but there's just so many things going on in the world that are scary and uncertain, and I don't know what we'll be talking about on this show 3 weeks from now. But these are the kind of stories that make you kind of feel good and restore your hope, and that there are good people out there, and that there are if we could only just worry about stuff like this, life would be a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean, we're early into the new year, and of course, this is night one for us back. And to your point, you look at the doom and gloom that's happening. It feels pretty good to be talking about a Letterman sweater.
Yeah, imagine that was the worst problem in the world right now. Is that this Letterman sweater? Anyways, hope to be talking to Jess again in a few weeks. Maybe Closer Look will get action. That would be a great way to start the year.
All right, good stuff. Closer Look at villagemedia.ca. If you have any tips on the Letterman sweater, let us know. We'll pass them along gladly to Jessica Owen. CloserLookPodcast.ca is the website. And by the way, lots of new subscribers over the holidays. So thank you for that. We appreciate it, as always. This evening's program, as always, produced by Derek Turner. For Michael Friscolanti, our editor-in-chief here at Village Media, I'm Scott Sexsmith. Thanks for watching. Welcome back and Happy New Year. We'll see you tomorrow night at 7 right here on Closer Look.
Frisco and Scott's wardrobe provided in part by Moores, Sault Ste. Marie.